those, where it's like, okay, it would be nice to have more bandwidth here, but it's not that it's made possible by 5G. It's just 5G will give more people a reliable 20 megabit bandwidth or something than they have on the current systems. It's a tough marketing problem for them, where changing your cellular infrastructure, each one where you have to go into tens of thousands of cellular base stations and pull out the racks and replace them. It's very, very capital intensive. And they would like to be able to have some cool marketing ploy to make people, think this is great, switch carriers over to this, where the bottom line is it gives you more bandwidth, and perhaps more importantly, it does cut the latency more. It's possible that things like cloud gaming over 5G networks may be more of a thing. The idea of actually playing games, instead of installing them locally, they run in data centers, and they can just go ahead and wirelessly get to you with low enough latency so that in many cases you wouldn't be able to notice.
When you're watching this from the outside and you're seeing all this technology develop, are you concerned at all when you see how addicted people are to their phones? Because your games are very addictive in the best ways, right? Quake is super addictive. It's really fun. It's great to play, and that's why it's addictive, because you just want to get that charge, that rush to get back in there. But the odd thing to me about cell phone addiction is there's not much thrill. It's a weird addiction where you're just constantly checking and nothing's coming back. Like, people are just constantly checking their email and their Twitter messages, their DMs and YouTube videos, but there's not a lot coming back at you. I'm concerned. I see this thing where you'll go to a place and you'll see 80% of the people just looking at their phones and not interacting with people. Do you ever look at that and go, where's this going?
So I do think about this in a way that, because this is one of these things where I recognize it in some other people, where I think I probably do interact with things a little bit differently. And I am sometimes conscious of the fact that most people don't think about things the way I do. And it's clear that, yes, a lot of people just, they get rage out of Twitter, and I can see it. Some people, it's probably bad for them doing some of these social media things. But, I get inspiration out of Twitter. My feed I'm going through, I'm seeing brilliant scientists, new research developments, wonderful art from people, hard workers developing products. And I just look at this as this is this amazing set of human beings that are building the future. And I've got this window into their mind, and it winds up being a very positive thing for me. But I do see the people that just wind up having that it is a negative aspect for them. And I don't know what to do about that, because talking about people issues are obviously not my strong suit. I'm the nuts and bolts or bits and bytes technology person, and social challenges, that's one of the things that probably over decades I've just come to be more at peace with the fact that I probably do think a bit differently than most people. I don't expect them to think necessarily like I do. And in many ways that keeps me from being upset at a lot of people and just say, well, people are different. They're not going to process these things the same way that I do. But yeah, I can see it as potentially a problem. But I do think also there's this ability for people to, people always want to say, it's okay, put down your phone. Why aren't you living in the real world? And there's another aspect of that where, for many people, the world that you get in the virtual world, whether it's on your phone or all the way to VR, the whole reason you do that should be because it's better than the world that you're choosing to step away from. And again, it's harder for many people that are in an elite thought leader position. If your life is awesome in every way, then yeah, you don't need that much from the virtual world, whether it's on a cell phone or virtual reality. If you've been courtside, backstage, pit lane, whatever, if you've done all of these things in real life, the VR version of it is not going to be that compelling. And if you saw people, fixated on all of that, you'd probably think those people are not living in reality. They should just be living in reality. But for so many people, what they get, the people on the other side of the phone that they're interacting with, that's where they'd rather be. The fact that people can find their tribe out of the billions of people in the world, even if they live in some podunk town in the Midwest, I think that's a really wonderful thing. And so while, yes, there is a negative tail on one side from it, I think that this connecting everyone is largely a good thing on net. There are downsides. Maybe there should be things we should be doing to mitigate the downsides.
But I think this connection of humanity is a net a positive thing.
I tend to agree with you that it is a positive thing. I think